Wow, you've really sent us some interesting stuff about SpaceX,
Yes.
especially all their Starship stuff and those Falcon launches.
Right.
You've got like Wikipedia deep dives into their whole history, and then some breaking news from NASAspaceflight.com and Spaceflight Now.
Wow. It's quite a reading list.
It is. It seems like you're really trying to understand what they're doing, like the big picture,
Yeah.
and how this all fits into the future of space travel.
Totally.
And one thing that really stands out is just how many launches they've done this year.
It's mind-boggling.
It is.
Spaceflight Now is saying 102 launches so far, and they're aiming for 148 by the end of the year.
Wow.
I can't even imagine.
That's more than one launch every 2.5 days.
Oh, my God.
Just to give you some context, in the first 3 months of this year,
Okay.
they launched as many rockets as they did in all of 2021.
That is wild.
Yeah.
And I know reusability is a big part of what they do,
Uh-huh.
but to turn around those rockets that fast,
Right.
it's still incredible.
Right.
It's not just speed, though.
Okay.
It's about bringing down the cost of accessing space.
Makes sense.
Each time they reuse a booster, they're basically saving the cost of building a brand new one.
Yeah.
Over time, that really adds up.
Right.
And it totally changes how we think about space travel.
So it's like taking something that used to be a luxury, only for governments and billionaires,
Right.
making it more like a commercial airline flight.
Exactly. And just like with airlines,
Yeah.
as the cost comes down, demand goes up.
Makes sense.
That's why we're seeing this crazy number of launches.
Okay.
They're not just launching their own stuff, satellites and spacecraft. They're launching stuff for everyone,
Wow.
like research institutions, private companies.
So they're basically building the infrastructure for a whole space-based economy.
Yeah, exactly.
But this pace, this has got to be pushing the limits of how fast they can turn these rockets around.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
They've broken their own turnaround records at all 3 of their Falcon launch sites this year.
Oh, wow.
For example, at Cape Canaveral Space Launch Complex 40,
Okay.
they shaved almost a full day off their previous best time.
I was reading on NASAspaceflight.com.
Yeah.
They even used this super-powered tugboat,
Oh, yeah.
the Signet Warhorse of the Third, to bring back one of the boosters faster.
Wow.
They said it hit 11 knots.
Really?
It's like a rocket-powered speedboat hauling this giant rocket booster back to shore.
That's amazing.
I know.
It shows how committed they are to being efficient.
Yeah.
Every hour they save means they can launch more rockets,
Right.
serve more customers, and get closer to their goals.
Speaking of pushing limits, those Falcon 9 boosters, they've got some serious miles on them.
They do.
I read that some have flown like 19 times.
19 times, that's right.
That's crazy.
And SpaceX is always trying to make them last even longer.
Oh, wow.
They do all these inspections and tests to certify them for more flights.
So they're not just launching more often, but they're getting more life out of each rocket. What does that mean for the cost of space travel in the long term?
Okay.
I mean, are we talking about making space accessible to like small businesses or universities?
That's exactly the goal.
Wow.
They even have this rideshare program now where
wow.
smaller payloads can hitch a ride with the bigger ones.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's a really smart way to make space travel cheaper
Yeah.
and open it up to more people.
It's amazing to think that launching something into space could be as normal as shipping a package someday.
I know. It's a real possibility.
Wow.
And SpaceX is leading the way.
So we've got Falcon 9 doing all the work now.
Yeah.
Reusability is making space travel more affordable.
Uh-huh.
Where does Starship fit into all of this?
Well, Starship is the next giant leap.
Okay.
It's designed to go way beyond Earth orbit to the moon, Mars,
Right.
maybe even further.
Wow.
But to make those missions actually happen,
Right.
they needed a vehicle that's not just bigger and more powerful,
Yeah.
but way more efficient.
And reusability is key to that efficiency.
Absolutely.
Just like with Falcon 9, being able to land and reuse Starship would make these missions way cheaper.
Exactly.
And it would make it possible to send people to Mars and maybe even live there.
That's the idea.
Wow.
SpaceX wants to make humans a multiplanetary species.
That's incredible.
And Starship is how they're going to do it.
So it's not just about getting to Mars, it's about building a whole city there.
Yeah, a self-sufficient city where people can live and work for a long time.
That sounds like science fiction.
It does.
But knowing SpaceX,
Right.
they're serious about making it a reality.
Yeah.
But let's be realistic for a second.
Okay.
What are some of the biggest challenges they need to overcome?
Well, first of all,
Yeah.
Starship still needs to be more reliable.
Okay.
Landing on Mars is really tough.
Yeah.
The atmosphere is much thinner than Earth's,
Right.
so they need a whole new way to land.
Okay.
And Mars is a harsh environment.
Oh.
It has extreme temperatures, dust storms,
Yeah.
radiation.
Keeping people safe and healthy on Mars.
Right.
That's a huge challenge.
Absolutely.
It's not like there are hospitals on Mars
Not yet.
or grocery stores.
Exactly.
They'll need to figure out life support systems, radiation shielding,
Mm-hmm.
how to grow food, and all sorts of other essential stuff.
It's a huge task.
It sounds like the ultimate engineering challenge.
It is.
Then there's the human factor.
Yeah.
A trip to Mars takes months,
Right.
and the astronauts would be stuck in a small spacecraft that whole time.
That's a long time.
They'd be exposed to radiation and isolation
Yeah,
that could affect their physical and mental health.
absolutely.
So they'll need to address those psychological challenges,
Right.
figure out how to protect them from radiation,
Right.
and make sure they have everything they need to stay healthy.
It's a complex challenge.
It's amazing all the things they need to consider.
Yeah.
But SpaceX isn't just focused on Mars. They're also part of the Artemis program to send people back to the moon.
Exactly.
So while Mars is the long-term goal, they're also working on more immediate space exploration projects.
It's exciting.
They've got a lot going on.
They do.
Falcon 9 is launching things into orbit.
Right.
Starship is being developed for deep space missions.
Yeah.
And Starlink is already connecting people all over the world.
Uh-huh.
What's next for SpaceX?
That's a great question.
Where do they go from here?
I don't even know if SpaceX has the answer to that yet.
It's true.
They're always pushing the limits,
Yeah.
exploring new things.
It's like they're writing the next chapter of human history,
It is.
and we're watching it happen.
Yeah.
But it's not just about SpaceX.
Okay.
It's about the spirit of exploration,
Uh-huh.
the drive to push beyond what we know,
Right.
the belief that anything is possible if you dream big
I agree.
and work hard.
Absolutely.
So what are your thoughts so far?
Well,
What stood out to you the most in this deep dive into SpaceX?
so we were talking about SpaceX pushing boundaries with Starship and Starlink,
Mm-hmm.
but they're still using Falcon 9 a lot too.
Yeah, it's like juggling a bunch of huge projects at once.
Right. And it's fascinating how they're all connected
It is.
by this idea of reusability.
Exactly.
We know it means landing rockets and using them again.
Right.
But why is that so revolutionary?
Well, think about the early days of space exploration.
Oh, yeah.
Every rocket was basically a one-time thing.
Yeah.
You launch it, it does its job,
Yeah.
then it's garbage.
Right.
Imagine having to build a new car for every road trip.
Oh, my gosh.
That would be so expensive and wasteful.
Yeah, no kidding. It makes sense why space travel used to be so exclusive.
Yeah, exactly.
Only governments and billionaires could afford it.
Right, but then SpaceX came along and changed everything.
Okay.
They designed rockets that could land back on Earth.
And now they're even catching them in midair with Starship.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So they've made space travel way cheaper.
Absolutely. Turning something that was super expensive into something more affordable.
Right. And as the price goes down, more people can do it.
So it's like comparing it to commercial air travel,
Yeah.
where more people and organizations can afford to travel.
And as more people can afford it,
Yeah.
we're seeing all these new companies and researchers using space.
For what kinds of things?
All sorts of stuff.
Okay.
From science experiments to manufacturing, even tourism.
Wow, that's exciting.
It is.
It's like we're at the start of a whole new space economy.
That's a great way to put it.
And SpaceX's success is making other companies want to get involved too.
Absolutely.
Like Jeff Bezos with Blue Origin, and all these new startups are popping up everywhere.
It's like a new space race.
But instead of countries, it's companies leading the way.
Exactly. And that competition is good for everyone.
Right. It pushes everyone to innovate and make space more accessible.
Absolutely.
So much has changed in such a short time.
It really has.
So we've got Falcon 9 launching all these payloads. Reusability is making space travel cheaper.
Right.
Where does Starship fit into all of this?
Well, Starship is the next big step.
Okay.
It's meant for missions that go way beyond Earth orbit.
Like to the moon and Mars.
Yeah. And maybe even further.
That's incredible.
But to make those missions possible,
yeah.
they needed something that wasn't just bigger and stronger.
Right.
It had to be super efficient, too.
And that's where reusability comes in again, right?
Exactly.
Being able to land and reuse Starship would make those missions much more affordable.
Right.
It could even make it possible to send people to Mars and establish a permanent base there.
That's the ultimate goal.
Wow. It's like something out of science fiction.
It does, doesn't it?
But SpaceX seems determined to make it happen.
They are.
Let's get down to Earth for a minute, though.
Okay.
What are some of the biggest challenges they still have to overcome?
Well, even though they've had some successful test flights,
Yeah.
Starship still has to prove that it's reliable.
I see.
Landing on Mars is incredibly hard.
Yeah.
Okay. The atmosphere is much thinner than Earth's.
Right.
They can't just land the same way they do with Falcon 9.
So they need a completely different approach.
Exactly.
Plus, Mars is a really tough environment.
It is.
Extreme temperatures, dust storms, radiation.
It's not easy to survive there.
How are they going to keep people safe and healthy on Mars?
That's one of the biggest challenges.
It's not like they can just pop over to the hospital if something goes wrong.
Right.
Or run to the store for supplies.
It's a whole new world.
They'll have to figure out life support systems, how to shield people from radiation, how to grow food, and all kinds of other things that we take for granted here on Earth.
It's a massive undertaking.
Sounds like the ultimate engineering challenge.
You could say that.
And then there's the human element, too.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
A trip to Mars would take months.
Right.
Stuck inside a relatively small spacecraft.
For all that time?
Imagine being cooped up with the same people for months on end.
It wouldn't be easy.
Plus, they'd be dealing with radiation and isolation that could really mess with their physical and mental health.
Absolutely. It's a huge concern.
So they'll need to find ways to deal with the psychological stress.
Right.
Protect the astronauts from radiation.
And make sure they have the support they need to stay healthy during the trip.
Wow. It's mind-blowing how much they have to consider.
It is, isn't it?
But SpaceX isn't just focused on Mars, right?
No, they're not.
They're also involved in the Artemis program to send people back to the moon.
That's right.
So while Mars is the ultimate goal, they're working on other space exploration projects, too.
It's amazing how much they're doing.
It is. They really have their hands full.
They do.
With Falcon 9 launching payloads, Starship being developed for deep space missions.
And Starlink connecting people around the world.
What's next for them?
That's a good question.
Where do they go from here?
I don't know.
It's hard to even imagine.
It is.
They're constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
And they're doing it so quickly.
It's like we're witnessing a new chapter in human history being written right in front of our eyes.
And we get to be a part of it.
But it's not just about SpaceX.
Oh.
It's about this incredible spirit of exploration.
Right.
This drive to push beyond what we know and what we think is possible.
It's inspiring.
It really is.
It makes you believe that anything is possible if we just dare to dream big.
And work hard to make those dreams a reality.
Exactly.
So, what are your thoughts on all of this? What has stood out to you the most in this deep dive into SpaceX?
Well, it's really been something, hasn't it?
It has.
I mean, it seems like just yesterday we were talking about those early Falcon 9 launches.
Yeah.
And now they're catching these huge rockets in the air and planning missions to Mars.
It's amazing how ambitious they are.
It is?
And they actually make it happen.
Right.
But it's not just about the technology itself.
Yeah.
It's about how they challenge the way things have always been done. They didn't just accept the limits of traditional space travel. They found a whole new way of doing things.
Right.
They innovated.
They disrupted the whole industry.
Yeah.
And they created all these new possibilities for us.
And that's what makes them so inspiring.
I agree.
They're not just building rockets.
Right.
They're building a future where space isn't just some far-off dream. It's a real place where we can live and work and explore.
It's like those old explorers who sailed across the oceans.
Yeah.
They wanted to discover new things.
Right.
They believed there was more to the world than what they already knew.
Totally.
SpaceX is doing the same thing, but on a much bigger scale.
They're setting a course for Mars.
Yeah.
Building this network to connect the whole world.
Right.
And inspiring people everywhere to look up at the stars and dream big.
It really is an exciting time to be alive.
It is.
We're seeing this incredible story unfold right in front of us.
I know.
Who knows what amazing discoveries are still to come?
That's the best part.
It is.
We're just at the beginning of this whole new era of space exploration, and the possibilities are endless.
And it's not just about SpaceX.
Right.
It's a team effort.
Yeah.
Scientists, engineers, entrepreneurs, dreamers.
Yeah.
All working together to expand humanity's reach into space.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into SpaceX, I want to leave you with this thought.
Okay.
If they can do all this in just a few decades, imagine what the next 5 or 10 years will bring. What new frontiers will we explore? What things that seem impossible now will become normal?
It's an exciting time.
The future of space travel is wide open.
It is.
And it's up to all of us to be a part of it.
Right.
Whether you're a student studying science and engineering, an entrepreneur looking for new opportunities, or just someone who's fascinated by space.
We can all play a part.
Keep looking up.
Keep exploring.
And never stop asking, what if?
Because, like SpaceX has shown us, the answer to that question can be truly extraordinary.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of SpaceX.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep those sources coming.
And never stop exploring. See ya. Bye.